How's it going, CNN fitness fans? Alright, let's go. This is the first day of spring 2025, baby, so enjoy it. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and get into season 7, episode 7. This is where the hype picks up. You guys are gonna love this episode, alright? And go ahead and tune into it. Go ahead, like that, push that like button, because this is gonna be the most fire episode out of all of them. Alright, and we're gonna go ahead and start off and say that I would start taking my electric scooter to the gym and let note that you guys could see on the pictures on the sides that I was feeling fit, I was feeling confident, I was feeling better, and on top of all this, I would be riding to the gym. I would every time I would go to the gym, I'd be going to machine on my electric scooter, and I could care less about what people thought or anything. I'm getting things done by any means, you know. And at one point, I started taking off from my house. I literally left. I was on my electric scooter. And I'm gonna say exactly how it happened because I want people to realize that if they're in the wrong path, it's time to switch it, because life is no joke. You know, it could end in a snap of a finger, and you're gone and you're done, and that's it. And literally, I up to this point, I could say I've dodged death probably like 5 times in my life. You know, since I was a baby, and literally. It's all up to us to keep moving forward and to keep going in life if our heart is still beating. But so I was riding to the gym. It was a normal day. I remember like two blocks from the gym before I got there, I was in a habit of smoking marijuana, and 2 blocks before I got to the gym, I took about 2 hits, and then I put it away, and I continued my route to the gym. And I could see what's going on, as people know that have been high. You could pretty much, you know what's going on. You're not 100% active in your head, but you can still determine what's good or bad, what is going on around you and everything. Well, I continued my route, and that's when finally I get to Tropicana and Grand Canyon. When I stopped there, like I explained to everybody, now only God knows what happened, but when I got there, in my head I still heard the signal for the blind people that goes that signal lets them know it's okay to cross. Well, when I got right to the stop sign, not the stop sign, right when I got to the crosswalk of the light, I heard that. So when I heard that and I looked up, I'm like, okay, I could still cross. So I went and I continued my journey. Now at this point, I hear honking, and I look to the left, and there's a car coming, and I'm like, oh, and I go like this, kind of saying like sorry and saying like, oh, apologize, let me get out of your way. And that car came to a complete stop when it finally stopped. When it did come to that stop, I end up going and I stop at the middle. As you know, there's always a big old concrete in the middle, yellow concrete, right? So I stop right there, and when I do stop there, I look to my right and I see a BMW and a big old white truck, probably like a GMC type looking truck. It was huge. But at this point, I'm like, okay, well, they're still stopped. So when I saw that, I'm like, let's go. And I end up taking off. Now when I take off, I'm going, and at this point, when I look to the right again, all I see is, and I get hit. Once I get hit, it's like when you watch a movie, all right? You know when you watch a movie and they show little clips and little flashbacks like of what happened, like, oh, they were at the house, oh, they were at the club, they went to their friends, they got drunk, and they're just showing clips like that. Well, that's how it was, but in my head, and with the difference that I couldn't open my eyes until I was in the ambulance. And what happened was the car hit me. I was already on the ground. All I hear is this person say, "Hey, are you okay?" I don't know who it was. All I responded was, "No, I think I need an ambulance." And they were like, "All right, no problem, hold tight, there's one on the way." I'm like, okay. And at this point, I just remember probably blacking out again. And next time that I wake up, I hear the paramedics telling me, "We're gonna go ahead and roll you onto a blanket. Once we get you onto the blanket, we're gonna lift you up and put you on the stretcher." And I knew what was coming. I was in pain. I didn't know what was wrong with me. But at this point, I knew I had to suck it up, I had no choice. But they ended up doing what they had to do. They rolled me one side, put the blanket under, rolled me back over, lifted me up, put me on the stretcher, and I went through all this. And from there, once they put me in the stretcher, I remember like kind of blacking out again. Then I wake up again, and when I wake up, we're in the ambulance, we're on the way to UMC, and at this point, I look around and I'm like, "Did you guys grab my phone?" And one of the paramedics goes, yeah, I got it." And then he ends up going and give it to me. When he gives it to me, that's when I end up, my brain's functioning. So I end up calling my mom, calling my brother. I let him know about the situation. I'm like, I was just hit by a car. They're escorting me to UMC. I'm like, and I'm in pain. And at this point, both of them said like, "Okay, we're gonna meet you over there." And from there, that's when I remember being entered into UMC, and they ended up doing X-rays of me. They did what else? CAT scans. They just to check everything out. Well, note that I didn't know what was broken, what happened. I didn't know what happened to me. But at this point, I was in the hospital. I remember they gave me morphine, to numb the pain and forget about it. But you don't forget about it, you just drugged. And then from there, I remember I was in there for about a week, and I still recall, just 3 days in, they give me some therapists, and those therapists come in and they go, "All right, are you ready? We're gonna go ahead and stand you up." And I mean, I don't know if they saw the X-rays, but I did later on when I got to the rehab. But when before I even go to the rehab, they ended up standing me up. They made me sit down on a couch. I stayed there for about an hour. Then they made me stand back up and lay back down in bed. And I mean, all this was painful, And also at this point, I remember that when they were entering that morphine into my body, I wasn't urinating properly, and that's because when you are on painkillers or when you are on pills, it makes it harder for you to urinate or to have bowel movements, and that's because of the medication that you're taking. But so they stood me up. That happened. After a week, they ended up asking my brother, "Yeah, you guys gotta transfer him out of here because insurance doesn't want to pay. Where do you guys want to take him?" At that point, my brother looks into several different rehabs, and the one that he chooses is the one closest to me, to my house. And at that point, he said that way Mom could go visit you. Any emergency, she's close to you, she could take care of you. And at this point, I'll visit any time that I have time. And from there, he ended up choosing Canyon Vista Post-Acute. Now, I got transferred to that rehab. When they transferred me to that rehab, the very first day, the therapist comes up to me And he goes, so have they told you what's going on with you? I say, no. He goes, oh man, well, we've dealt with it before. He goes, and it's painful.